Hello, history lovers, and welcome back. Today, we are diving into one of the most infamous and dramatic relationships of the Roman Empire. The story of Emperor Nero and the woman who captivated him, Poppaea Sabina. Their tale is a whirlwind of ambition, scandal, and tragedy that shaped the very course of Rome. So, grab your popcorn because this story has more twists than a Roman road. Before Poppaea, Nero was married to Octavia, the daughter of the previous emperor, Claudius. It was a political marriage designed to secure Nero's claim to the throne, but it was a loveless and cold union. Nero, a young man with a passion for the arts and a flair for the dramatic, found Octavia dull and uninspiring. He was looking for a spark, and he was about to find a blazing fire. Enter Poppaea Sabina. The ancient historians, never ones to shy away from gossip, describe her as one of the most beautiful women of her time. But she wasn't just a pretty face. Poppaea was intelligent, witty, and incredibly ambitious. She came from a noble but not imperial family and had her sights set on the ultimate prize, the empress's throne. When she first caught Nero's eye, she was already married to one of his friends, Otho. But that was just a minor detail. The attraction between Nero and Poppaea was electric. He was completely mesmerized by her. She was everything his wife Octavia was not: sophisticated, charming, and a master of flattery. She understood Nero's artistic soul and encouraged his passions, something few in the traditional Roman aristocracy did. For Nero, who often felt misunderstood, Poppaea was a kindred spirit. He fell for her, and he fell hard. To be with Nero, Poppaea first needed to get her own husband out of the picture. Conveniently, her husband, Otho, was appointed governor of a faraway province, Lusitania, which is modern-day Portugal. With Otho safely out of Rome, Poppaea was free to become Nero's official mistress. But for a woman of her ambition, being the emperor's mistress was not enough. She wanted to be his wife, the Empress of Rome. There was just one major obstacle standing in her way: Nero's current wife, Empress Octavia. Octavia was beloved by the Roman people. She was seen as a virtuous and respectable figure, a symbol of old Roman values. Divorcing her would be a public relations nightmare for Nero. On top of that, Nero's powerful mother, Agrippina the Younger, despised Poppaea and was fiercely protective of Octavia's position, which secured her own son's legitimacy. This created a tense power struggle in the imperial court. On one side, you had Poppaea, whispering in Nero's ear, fueling his desires and ambitions. On the other, you had Agrippina, a formidable political player who had practically put Nero on the throne and wasn't about to let some newcomer usurp her influence. The conflict between the two women was intense, and Nero was caught in the middle. The situation came to a head in the year 59 AD. Frustrated by his mother's constant interference in both his personal and political life, Nero made a horrifying decision. He orchestrated the murder of his own mother, Agrippina. The details are shocking. Failed attempts with a collapsible boat followed by a more direct approach. With Agrippina gone, one of the biggest obstacles to Poppaea's rise was removed. After his mother's death, Nero's relationship with Poppaea deepened. He was now free from Agrippina's control, and Poppaea's influence over him grew stronger than ever. For 3 more years, she remained his cherished mistress while he was still married to Octavia. But Poppaea kept pressing. She wanted the title, the power, and the legitimacy that only marriage to the emperor could bring. Finally, in 62 AD, Nero made his move. He divorced Octavia, accusing her of infertility, a common and convenient pretext. The Roman public was outraged. They protested in the streets, carrying statues of the beloved Octavia and tearing down those of Poppaea. The public outcry was so strong that a panicked Nero briefly considered taking Octavia back, but Poppaea wouldn't have it. According to the historian Tacitus, she confronted Nero, arguing that if he was so scared of the mob, he should fear a new husband for Octavia more, who could use her popularity to challenge his rule. Her arguments, a mix of fear-mongering and flattery, worked. Nero's resolve hardened. To silence the protests and remove Octavia as a threat for good, he had her exiled to a remote island. But even that wasn't enough. Soon after, on trumped-up charges of adultery, the virtuous Octavia was executed. With Octavia gone, the path was clear. Just 12 days after the divorce, Nero and Poppaea were married. Poppaea Sabina had finally achieved her ultimate goal. She was the Empress of Rome. A few months later, she gave birth to a daughter, Claudia Augusta. Nero was ecstatic. He showered both mother and child with honors, declaring them both Augusta, a prestigious title. For a brief moment, it seemed like their controversial love story had found its happy ending. But tragedy struck just 4 months later when the infant Claudia died. Nero and Poppaea were devastated. Nero mourned deeply, deifying his baby daughter and building temples in her honor. This shared loss likely brought the imperial couple even closer, united in their grief. Poppaea remained the center of Nero's world. She was his confidant, his partner, and his muse. Their time together at the pinnacle of power coincided with some of the most infamous events of Nero's reign, including the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. Rumors swirled that Nero himself started the fire to clear land for his lavish new palace, the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. While most modern historians doubt this, the ancient sources paint a picture of Nero callously playing his lyre as the city burned. Whether true or not, the story stuck, and Nero needed a scapegoat. He found one in the small emerging sect of Christians, leading to the first major Roman persecution. We don't know for sure what role Poppaea played in this, but as his closest advisor, it's almost certain she was involved in the decision-making. The end of their story is as tragic and debated as its beginning. In the year 65 AD, Poppaea was pregnant again. The historian Tacitus reports that during a quarrel, Nero, in a fit of rage, kicked his pregnant wife, causing her death. Other historians, like Suetonius and Cassius Dio, tell a similar story. It's a shocking and brutal end to their passionate relationship, and it has become the most enduring image of their marriage. However, it's important to consider the sources. These historians wrote decades after Nero's death and were part of an upper class that despised him. They had every reason to portray him as a monstrous and unstable tyrant. Some modern historians question this account, suggesting that Poppaea may have died from complications in her pregnancy, a tragically common occurrence in the ancient world. The story of Nero kicking her could have been hostile propaganda created after his fall to further blacken his name. We will likely never know the absolute truth. Did he kill the woman he moved heaven and earth to marry in a moment of fury, or did he lose her to a tragic accident? What we do know is that Nero's reaction to her death was not that of a man who was glad to be rid of her. He was consumed by grief. He gave her a lavish state funeral, defying Roman tradition by having her body embalmed and entombed in the mausoleum of Augustus, an honor reserved for the imperial family. He delivered the eulogy himself, praising her beauty and the divine honor of having been the mother of the deified Claudia. His grief was so profound that he later sought out a young man who reportedly resembled Poppaea, had him surgically altered, and called him by Poppaea's name. The story of Nero and Poppaea is a powerful cautionary tale about the destructive nature of unchecked ambition and passion. Was it a genuine love story twisted by power and politics, or was it a calculated alliance between a narcissistic emperor and a master manipulator? Perhaps it was a bit of both. Their relationship left a trail of destruction, leading to the deaths of Nero's mother, his first wife, and ultimately Poppaea herself. It destabilized the empire and cemented Nero's reputation as one of history's greatest villains. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to ancient Rome. It's a story that proves that sometimes real life is more dramatic than any fiction. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the most fascinating stories from history. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Poppaea a victim or a villain? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious.